Welcome back to the Human Podcast. So today I'm speaking with George Scholey for the second time. If you haven't seen him in the original episode, George is one of the best people in the world at solving the Rubik's Cube. And I've got him back on to speak because he recently set a world record by solving nearly 7,000 Rubik's Cubes within a 24-hour period. This story's got a lot of news coverage. George was recently on BBC News and the video on YouTube racked up nearly 700,000 views. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this conversation with George, and if you do, please hit subscribe as we're trying to grow the channel, and by subscribing it will really help me be able to speak to more amazing people like George. So yeah, thank you for watching and enjoy the show. George, thanks for coming back on the show.
No worries, thank you so much, thanks for having me back. Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? Been a few months.
Yeah, probably, I think it was February, March, so at least half a year.
Yeah. Oh, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, thanks man. Likewise. I mean, yeah, I was just thinking, just in case someone's not watched the first episode, it'd be good to start with a demo.
Absolutely. Yeah,
so
go ahead, mix one out.
Let's take one of these cubes.
Mix a couple up if you want. But these are the cubes from the world record attempt.
Okay,
so
nice.
That's what I've got them over this. They're just 4 random cubes, so
yeah.
nothing that special about them, apart from the fact they're used for the world record. But,
nice.
Yeah,
nice. Okay, well there you go. There's one scrambled.
Let's do a solve. There you go.
Pretty good, right?
That was not the greatest solve. I think when I first went on it was about 6 seconds, but that was not as good, but still.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah,
that was great. Okay, so you come back the second time because you recently set a couple of world records, but kind of the main one I think was you sold, just want to get this right, 6,931 cubes.
Yeah, that's right.
Scrambled cubes in 24 hours, and the previous record was 5,800.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty awesome, and this has kind of blown up a lot. You know, I saw on BBC News earlier, you've got about 500,000 views on an interview.
Big, yeah.
So that was cool. So I mean, first of all, what inspired you to take on this crazy challenge?
Yeah. So actually, I mean, it kind of actually came about not like it wasn't something that I kind of thought of that I wanted to do. It was actually Guinness World Records got in touch with me on LinkedIn, which is actually just really cool, quite out of the blue. It was back in about June. It's kind of start of the summer, and they got in touch and they said, do you want to set some records with us? And I was like, absolutely. Yeah, I'm very excited by this opportunity. They didn't have anything in mind, nor did I initially, but I knew that I skateboard and I've been doing that for a lot of my life, so I thought I could do something to do with that. Then obviously I noticed there was this record that had been held for the last 9 years, almost a decade, and it was the most Rubik's Cube solved in 24 hours. And I thought, I knew, the average solve time for that attempt equals out to about 14.8 nanoseconds per cube. I know that on average I can solve it in, 7 or 8. Obviously that time, that's including breaks, the time runs on when you're braking, and that's obviously including the inspection time, which is a big part of it as well. Like you have no time to actually look at the cube and plan out what you're doing. You have to just get straight into the solve. But I still thought, I think I'd probably, even with that, average about 12 seconds. So I reckon I'm going to try and go for that. It's a big, quite demanding attempt to do. But I thought it'd be a big challenge and something that was actually fairly doable. And also, I kind of thought it was something that it would challenge me in terms of my health. 24 hours, that's quite tough, mentally and physically. So I thought I might be able to do this, to prepare for this. I should just get in the best shape I've ever been in. So that was a big part of it as well, kind of the preparation for it, yeah.
Be good to hear a bit about that, yeah. So how did you prep mentally and physically for the feat?
Yeah, so I mean, there are a few things that I kind of I initially thought of. So actually, the first thing I should mention is my uncle is a neuroscientist. He's an amazing neuroscientist as well. He's quite high up. He's really cool. So he actually is a chief scientific officer, I believe, or something like that, for this company called Rapper. It's this brain food drink, and it's kind of got pine bark extract, L-theanine, all these components that kind of initiate what we call as keep as a flow state, a state where you're solving really well, efficiently, effectively, but for a sustained amount of time. So you kind of might be able to do 200 solves in a row, and it might have felt about 10 minutes, even though it was probably longer. So I kind of thought, okay, I'm going to try and use that Rapper, and that's going to keep me in this kind of this flow state for a long time. I can't just do that and not treat my body right and still be able to sit for 24 hours and then solve effectively 24 hours. So there were another couple of things that I spoke to my uncle about that would kind of help with this attempt. I didn't drink alcohol for 50 days. I'm a third year university student, so you can imagine that was actually fairly tough. I had to go to club sober the whole night, but no, it was 100% worth it. And also it's just, building up to the attempt, it's just the best I've ever felt in my life. I just felt so lucid. And I'm not saying drinking, just drinking was that. It was obviously the fact that I was also running twice a day or once a day. I was running a lot. Yeah. I was running a lot. I actually really got into running. I plan on kind of pursuing that actually now.
That's cool.
As another kind of thing on the side. But running as well, so just essentially being active, eating fairly well, not drinking alcohol. Those are all parts that kind of, in this 50-day preparation around it was about 50 days, led me to believe that I was able to do this.
That's awesome. That drink sounds really interesting. So how does it make you feel exactly?
Yes, I mean I really want to emphasize, but obviously people can think what they want. I don't think it's a placebo. When I first had it so the components are this kind of blackcurrant that's only found in New Zealand. So it's a New Zealand company actually, founded in New Zealand. It's also got this L-theanine. It's a calming component in green tea. But it's also semi-stimulating. This whole thing's caffeine-free. Oh yeah, another thing to mention, I did the whole thing caffeine-free for 24 hours. Yeah. And obviously, that was a big part of it. The fact that I didn't have to drink anything to maintain to be stimulated, which was really, really cool. Yeah. So L-theanine, pine bark extract, which apparently has these cognitive effects, effects on your cognition. So I believe it's probably a couple other ingredients that go in there, but those are the main ones to me that I think are important in initiating what we call that flow state. So I had that. I have it in the form. Usually it comes as a powder, and I put that in smoothies, and I drink that in the morning after a run. But it also comes in the form of just this drink, and you can literally have a third of the drink, and you'll feel the effects for a cubing session. I don't know. I just get in that state fairly quickly. There's something about it. There are probably other ways to get into it. I mean, there are loads of supplements out there that we call nootropics. So stuff that there are some more unconventional ones like modafinil and stuff that exist, but other ones there is a lot of research in Panax ginseng, stuff like that. And I did a fair amount of research, but obviously my uncle is the main guy that knows this stuff. But I thought, okay, I need to make sure that I can do this. I can have this sustained cognition for a 24-hour period is a long time. I don't remember the last time I did an all-nighter until that attempt.
Yeah, so out of the 24 hours, how long were you up for? How many breaks did you have? What was the kind of structure of all that? Yeah.
So I was up for 24 hours. I actually ended up taking, I think, so going into the attempt, I thought I can probably allow myself for an hour and a half of breaks to beat the 5,800. I actually ended up only doing an hour 15, 75 minutes of breaks throughout the entire 24 hours. Which thinking back, that's not much.
That's crazy, that's not much.
At the time, it's just the fact that when that clock's ticking, when you're stopping, when you're braking, that your average time per assault is going up. Going up. So as long as you're braking.
So your average was about 15 seconds with brakes, was it?
12.5.
12.5 with brakes. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
So that's inspection time. I'm fairly proud of that. I think I probably could have pushed it so for a fair amount of time during the attempt. I actually managed to keep it below 12 for the entire attempt, and then it kind of pushed over 12. Between 4 and 6, I struggled. I did struggle. 100%. It's just starting to just go a bit insane. Not like cognitive, I was fine. I was I'm good. But I'm just tired, and my wrists were really in pain. And there's no way that I could have kind of, foreseen that. I was like, okay, I'm going to go in and I'll probably get some pain, but what can I do? And that's kind of I'm kind of glad that's the way I approached it. I didn't as much I could have done for my wrists. Maybe there are some wrist braces I could have worn. But what I did is during a couple of my breaks, I put them under some cold water, and that helped a bit. But yeah, and also later on during the attempt, whenever I took a break, when I came back to it, it really had to get back into the state of it again, into that flow state. It was a lot harder. Before I could take a 20-minute, I think my longest break was an 18-minute break during the attempt, and the rest of them were 5, 6 minutes. And after a 20-minute break, that was fine. But later on, I'd literally take a 3-minute break, and I'd come back and I'd be okay, I need to do this again. I need to solve. But the previous world record holder, Eric Lineback, he like I said, that was a long time ago. That was 2013. He said that he started going a bit insane towards the end. he said that like his mind wasn't really comprehending what he was doing, but his hands were. And I think that serves to emphasize a lot about muscle memory, though. I think that's really, really cool. And when I told my uncle that, he was like, wow, that's so interesting. I imagine to a neuroscientist that is really interesting, the idea that he didn't kind of comprehend it, but his hands did. But anyway, I'd never had any of that. The whole way through, I felt very, very fine. It was just like tiredness, a bit of fatigue between 4 and 6. And then between 6 and 8, for some reason, it's like some of my best solving of the entire attempt. I just somehow was back in the flow. I think I had a bit of an adrenaline rush knowing that I was actually finally reaching the end. But yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, mentally, how was it towards the end? Was it just really uncomfortable and you couldn't wait to finish? Like, could you describe like your mental state throughout the whole thing?
So, I think that, in terms of my mentality, a big thing that's worth noting is I got the world record with 4.5 hours to spare. So so I reached 5,801. With like 4.5 hours to spare, which obviously meant that's a huge weight taken on my shoulders. So now, in a way it helped, in a way it hindered, because at that point I was like, well, I've got it now. Like, why do I need to keep solving? But then I thought, okay, I need to kind of smash it. But also there was this idea, this fact that it's quite interesting, was this guy called Roe Hessler from the US. He actually attempted this world record. I don't know when, maybe in 2016, or maybe even earlier. And he beat it. He got 6,680, but for some reason it wasn't allowed by Guinness. He even had an adjudicator there, but it wasn't allowed by Guinness, which was really interesting. But what it meant was Cubers, this whole thing was being live streamed. Cubers in the group chat, they were like, okay, it's not the real record though, is it? The real record was 6,680. So even though that wasn't actually officially recognised as the world record, to a Cuba, that's still the world record. So to me, I was like, okay, I actually do need to really kind of beat that as well to truly feel gratified with this record. So that's what I did. I beat that with about an hour to spare, I believe. I don't really know that last part's a bit of a blur. But like mentally it was fairly challenging, but definitely not as challenging as I thought it would be, I think. Like between 4 and 6, I just remember it being hard, but not like, and not once did I think, I should probably give up. Like, the whole way through it was fine, and then between 6 and 8 for some reason it was just absolutely fine. And actually worth noting as well, as soon as the attempt kind of ended, I was whisked away to do loads of like PR stuff and like speak to loads of news outlets and stuff. So I was like just kind of having to be myself after not having slept for.
On the same day. So as soon as
I finished the attempt,
no sleep really.
As soon as was
BBC one of those like?
BBC was a couple of days later. That was impressive. Because I was in a pretty decent state for that one. No, I mean like there was some interviews with like Reuters and some other news outlets.
Okay.
All the photos you see, me holding the thing, everything like that, me like holding the certificate, all of those that was straight after the attempt.
So you're tired.
I was knackered.
Yeah. How long did you sleep for after that?
Yeah. So actually, I had work the next day.
Okay.
So I finished the attempt, did all these kind of PR interviews, these things, and then I went straight home. Had about 3.5 hour nap, I believe. I also napped in the taxi to my house, so probably maybe even evened out to about 3 hours 45 minutes or like something like that. And then I woke up and I had some more interviews to do. This time I think it was with The Guardian. And then I went to bed and had to wake up for 8 the next day for work. And I was also worried about that. I was worried about getting back into the swimming things, but somehow it just worked out really, really well. I don't think it could have gone better. The fact that I got the next day also kind of pushed me to kind of go straight back into the my circadian rhythm, into the routine of life. It was fairly fun.
I was intrigued, like, who was in the room. So, I mean, I looked at the live stream, and so you obviously had maybe just some friends, and your girlfriend, I think, was there supporting, but then also an actual team to help you, like, scramble, that kind of stuff. Who's in the room? And also, where was it as well?
So, I mean, like, these guys, like, obviously I couldn't, it's one that I could not have done this without them, right? Like, it completely relied on, like, I kind of knew going in, I was capable of getting the world records. The only thing was the logistics of it, was having a constant feed of officially scrambled cubes that were meeting all the regulations. And that was the hardest part. Had some issues with venue, literally about 10 hours before the attempt. There were like some venue changes and some issues. I was initially going to do it in Rubik's, the Guinness World Record office.
Okay.
And then they suddenly didn't let me, so I had to do it in the hotel that was right next to it.
Okay.
The St Giles Hotel at like Tottenham Court Road. Then I was going to do it in their reception, but then that wouldn't work, obviously, because there'd be like a massive queue of people for breakfast in the morning, and it just wouldn't work. So then they were like, do it in your hotel room, and I was like, my hotel room is tiny, it could barely fit me in, let alone multiple people. So then I eventually kind of worked it out, and we upgraded my hotel room, thanks to Guinness, to a huge, like the biggest one they had, that allowed, I mean, it still wasn't that big, then you saw the stream, it wasn't huge. It just about fitted all of us, and it was, just a big table, and that was it, just essentially a big table. Then I had like a couple of beds there, but obviously they weren't in use. They were in use for during the night shifts. A couple of people had a little nap during the record attempt. So it was in a hotel room, which was it was not how I just always imagined it. You know, building up to something, especially something like this, you want to imagine yourself doing it, you know, before you can do it. Just so you know you have the capability, you know you can do it. This wasn't great practice for that, because I just didn't know where I was doing it up until 10 hours before it. And then I forgot something at my house and had to go grab it, cycle back to my house and then back to St Giles. So I actually only ended up getting about 6.5 hours sleep before the attempt.
Really?
I was also nervous, so I probably I went to bed and then was trying to sleep for 45 minutes, but I'm an instant sleeper, so it was worrying for me. I was like, oh my god, I hope I can actually finally get to sleep. I did, and it worked out okay. But yeah, there's a venue change, and then so the people that helped me. So I had assigned scramblers working in what I initially said was 2 to 4 hour shifts. Some of them ended up staying pretty much the whole time.
Really wow.
They're just amazing. But yeah, normally 2 to 4 hour shifts, and what I always had was 3 people on the go. So there was me, the solver. There was a screen in front of me, so that I can see the scrambles going on the other side. It was in the regulation that I could not see who was scrambling, or the scrambles themselves, as they're being scrambled. And then I had someone here, we called them my judge, because they're kind of they kind of took that responsibility as if they would in a cubing competition. So what happened is, so we'd have these cubes on the go in front of me, and then as soon as I solved a cube, I'd drop it. And then someone on the other side would reach their hand out and grab it. They'd be following a computer-generated scramble. So all these people were cubers. They're people that have the capability to follow computer-generated scrambles. It's a kind of like a wacky notation. It's kind of like following piano music or something like that. It's like a notation that you know. So if I look at this scramble right here, you can see that's just to me I can just follow it. So L2.
Oh, okay, the top.
Yeah, and then as you can see, it matches the exact net of what's given there.
Just at the top, you follow those instructions there?
Yeah, follow those instructions.
Yeah,
nice.
There. Okay, cool. So they're constantly doing that.
So I'm constantly doing that. They're constantly doing it, not me. And then, so someone was scrambling it, and they had the person next to them checking it, making sure that it matched the net, making sure there wasn't a mis-scramble. And then we had cube covers. I probably should have brought one, but it's fine. They had cube covers. They were just essentially a cardboard kind of cover that kind of just fits over the cube. And then the person, my judge, would kind of take it. And a big rule of the attempt is the fact that I can't see the next cube as I'm doing my current one. So only as soon as I finished it would they lift the cube cover and reveal the next cube. Once it was revealed, I'd do the solve. So.
Nice.
And then they'd take it, and then it just happened. Cycles constantly. Normally, because there are a lot of cubes, they'd for safety have probably up to 5 cubes scrambled at a time to make sure that if I had a particularly fast solve. I definitely had a couple 4s in there and stuff. I had some fast solves,
Do you think you got your record maybe during that time?
I don't believe I got 3. I don't think I got less than 3.3. Inspection time obviously massively hindered everything. Or lack thereof, that lack of inspection time. As soon as take it, just went around and around in circles. But so sometimes they'd have 5 cubes scrambled at a time, 6 cubes scrambled at a time to make sure that if I had a fast solve, there'd always be one ready. So amazing scramblers and judges essentially always there. But what was good as well is obviously the judge didn't need to be a cuber because they're not following scrambles. What they're doing is making sure the cube's covered and showing it to me, and then as soon as they can obviously see when the cube's solved, and non-cuber can see that, so as soon as it was done, they'd lift it. So what actually happened quite a few times is I'd have a a cube. Some of them were fairly young. A kid scrambling on the side, and their mum would be the one judging me. And obviously there's the scramble checker there as well. Sometimes I'd have the scramble and the scramble checker both scrambling at the same time. I mean, what's weird is like, because I didn't see anything, I never really saw what they were doing. So that's like my grasp of it is actually as good as like it should be. You know, I was with them for 24 hours straight. I didn't really quite know the logistics of of like the idiosyncrasies of them actually having to get these cubes out there constantly, because all I saw was the scrambled cubes. That's kind of the logistics, and Rubik's were there at the very start, which was lovely. Kind of the media manager and I think the brand manager now as well. They're both there, which was great for support, and they came at the very end as well to support me. And then my girlfriend was there the whole time, which was amazing. It was very, 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 very nice having her there. Like, just like comforting, you know, like knowing like someone you know, someone you love, someone you know, just in the room the whole time. It's great. Yeah.
Is there someone from Guinness then the whole time observing, checking there's no cheating going on, that kind of stuff? How does it work with that?
They tried to get that to happen, but it's quite hard just to have someone there, especially because we worked out, so I'd finish on Guinness World Record Day. So that's why it kind of worked out. So that's why there was a lot of coverage of it as well, because like we were having on Guinness World Record Day. One of the all the adjudicators were kind of busy during that time at that point, which made it quite annoying. So that meant that because there was no adjudicator there, I had to ensure that the whole thing was on camera, like that everything would be definitely like on camera and like filmed well. Because even if like a 10-minute clip's gone, it could be just like not allowed. So what I did was I obviously live streamed the entire thing, which is really, really good. But I also had a Google Nest security camera, which I was quite happy that I was able to kind of find that way of doing it. And I had that security camera, like an indoor one, like a wide one, just plugged into the wall, just in the corner, filming the entire thing and uploading it all to the cloud. That meant that I just had a constant feed on the cloud of everything that happens from start to finish. That was just really, really good.
Were you surprised you did it as well and actually made it, or you thought you'd get it probably?
It was weird because, like I said, I like to visualize stuff before I do it, so then I can do it. And I just was like, I can probably set for 24 hours, but I didn't know. That's why I really wanted that security of being in the best shape I'd ever been in my life. So I was like, if I'm like that, then I know that I can probably set for 24 hours. If you can set for 48 hours, or as famously, a student set for 11 days straight, and that's the world record. Without dying. But no, I'm not never going to do over 24 hours of soloing in my life again. I think I was fairly happy that it went well, but I was fairly surprised because I couldn't visualize how it would go. Yeah.
What's the reaction been like from all your friends in this cubing community? Like, how they all responded?
Really good. I think it wasn't the world record attempt. Everyone was like, "Yeah, that's really cool. Well done." It's an old attempt. I think I gained a lot of praise, which I'm really thankful for the subsequent media interviews and stuff like that. Just because it's doing its bit in popularising cubing, and that is what people want at the end of the day. Cubing, it's only getting bigger, but it's going to get faster to get bigger if we have people like me able to kind of voice it to the world. I think they were very. They're very nice in that aspect. All the cubes were not well done on the way you were kind of able to promote cubing to non-cubers. That's what I've actually got the most gratification from out of the attempt. The world record was great, very, very happy with it, but it's actually the fact that I've been able to promote cubing to people around the world. It's just been so good about it.
Yeah, like I said earlier, you got 500,000 views on the BBC interview. Were you surprised it got that much attention, or?
Yes, because I was on BBC Breakfast in 2018. I was on BBC News in 2018, and nothing really came of it. I had a few friends. I had a few pats on the back from friends that I was like, "Yeah, that's cool. You're on TV." And I was like, "Yeah, it was quite cool." And I've been on TV a fair amount of times subsequently. I was on This Morning as well with Holly and Phil, which is a fairly watched show. But for some reason, this one, they liked it enough to put it on YouTube as its own clip. Put it on TikTok as its own clip, and it meant that, and it got put on Twitter, and it just meant it was shared by more people and viewed by more people. So I'm really thankful for whoever thought it was worth putting out there more.
A month ago, you also set another world record. Talk a bit about that as well. So for solving 500 cubes while skateboarding.
Yes, the world record is the most Rubik's Cube solved while skateboarding, or while on a skateboard, I think is the way they worded it. Which I don't know why they said that instead of skateboarding, because on a skateboard you can just stand there, right? But yeah, like I essentially just thought like I said, because I was spoken to on LinkedIn by Guinness, and they said, set some records, do you want to set some records with us? And I was like, absolutely. And I thought, let's get skateboarding involved, because I've skateboarded my whole life and I don't see many Rubik's Cube skateboarding world records, and I know it's one that is very niche, so that means I could probably get it. So yeah, this record didn't exist before I started it, so it meant that like, yeah, it was obviously kind of almost a guarantee. The only thing was like, I had to give myself a target, and I gave it 300. So I did actually, it was like a pretty decent number I needed to get over in order to get the records. But yeah, I managed to get it at the end, which was really, really good. But yeah, so like I just kind of was like, let's do a very niche one. But like, yeah, I think it'd be good practice for the big world record that I'm going to be doing in about a month. So yeah, I did this skateboarding one on like October 13th. And then the 24-hour one was on the 9th of November. So it was like, yeah, like it was kind of like a month in between.
It's kind of 500 skateboarding round, like without, you can't take breaks or anything, right? You just kind of have to constantly be doing them. Like,
so the times of like the record were, as long as the skateboard continued to move, the attempt continued. Yes. So I needed to be constantly on the skateboard. Yeah. And like anytime I put my foot down, or like I leaned on my foot, if I put it down or something like that, it's obvious that like I wasn't still on the skateboard, the attempt would end. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like it was like quite fairly strict. For this one I had an adjudicator there as well, which was good. So that was quite lucky. But yeah, so the same kind of concept as the 24-hour attempt, I had people that were scrambling, but they were all kind of, the way we did it at my skate park. Okay. We just did it at a skate park, and they were just situated at kind of different points in a circle, and I was just skating in the circle essentially for an hour and 45 minutes straight. I was skating in the circle, and whenever I solved the cube, I'd do a straight swap. So they all had their own scrambled cube, and I had my solved one. So whenever I'd just do a swap, and then I'd scramble, then I'd solve, swap, and then as I was solving, obviously they were scrambling the next one. But it worked out really well. Sometimes, obviously, I'd have a worse solve, so I'd have to skip the person. So I had to move on to the next one. But yeah, obviously, like no time limit. As long as I stayed on the board, I could have gone forever. And that's why I kind of ended off at a nice number. Because I was like, okay, 500, that's good. I definitely could have kept going. I was like, okay, I'm done now. My legs actually, thought they'd feel tired, but I guess the running had helped a bit. And my legs weren't tired either, which is good.
Was that mentally tiring?
Yeah, it was mentally really. Yeah, no. I definitely, for that one, I'd say I noticed it more than 24 hours. I definitely got in a flow state. Yeah. Genuinely, this sounds great. It felt like 20 minutes.
Wow, really interesting.
And it was an hour and 44. Yeah. I had like a bottle of a rapper before. I love that. Maybe that's something. Yeah. I got a good amount of sleep. I got like 9 hours sleep before as well, which obviously helped. And it was in the morning, so yeah, it was quite good. Like obviously, it was kind of the perfect scenario to do the record. Well, actually, no, not in the respect that it would rain overnight. It wasn't raining, but it rained overnight, and that's obviously awful for skateboarding. You're never meant to skate in the rain. It ruins your bearings, the stuff that spins the rails, and just kind of the whole experience. So I was really worried about that. I thought also, you're more likely to slip because the ground's really like smooth. So if it's damp, you slip out super easily, and I was really worried about that. As the attempt went on, it dried up, and I just got quite lucky. At no point did I almost fall off, which was good. Yeah. Are
there any non-running, non-skateboarding kind of more like the 24-hour challenges that you've got your eyes on at the moment?
I'm kind of enjoying chilling.
That.
It was great for me, and it was great to kind of push myself physically and get in the best state I'd ever been in. Now I want to enjoy have the uni lifestyle for a bit, and then I'll move on to some more records in the future probably. For now, I'm just kind of obviously also having to just get back into studying. Like I'm in third year of university, so it's fairly demanding. I also work in retail 3 days a week, so it just means I'm no, I'm constantly busy. So this is nice.
Nice break. It's cool that it's ended up just getting you, funnily enough, into running. That wasn't something you were planning. So you're running twice a day for how many days a week?
Once or twice a day. I was running a fair amount.
For 7 days a week?
Normally 6 days a week.
That's really good, twice a day. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I run a bit, but twice a day is awesome. That's great. When are you doing that? Early and late?
When I woke up, and then sometimes I'd be doing stuff with my society. I joined the running society, and that helps at my university. And I just love it. I just think there's something about it. So I just thought, let's keep on doing that.
Nice.
And I plan on maybe pursuing that a bit in the future. But it just requires you to just be just very, 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 very healthy. And I want to enjoy uni a bit more. I want to still drink with my friends and stuff. I don't know if that ties into running enough. We'll see. But yeah.
That's cool. I mean, you're in third year uni. Yeah, I was just kind of wondering what kind of the plans are now in terms of finishing uni and all the Cuban stuff you do. What any plans for the next?
I'm afraid to say probably not much Cuban. I got to commit to my studies, so I'm going to be definitely pursuing a career in the Rubik's Cube, 100%. I'm still going to continue my contract this year as a Rubik's ambassador and everything like that. Because I love being a Rubik's ambassador, and I love it. So I'm going to keep on doing that. But I won't be able to do too much for them until May when I finish, and then I'm going to do as much as I can. I'm going to really try and pursue a career in cubing. Probably not competitive cubing, just going to competitions, but a lot of the stuff that I've been doing for BBC and stuff like that, kind of media appearances. That's what I love. I presenting. I'd love to do that kind of presents type thing, because I love that kind of thing.
So that could be a full-time thing. That's
essentially plan. I think what I want to do is something in social media, because that's the way to go now. As much as I love TV and work on TV, and I really enjoyed that, I hate to say it, it's kind of a dying trade. People don't watch TV as much as they used to. People will spend much more time on TikTok. And it's sad to say. I don't even actually use TikTok, because I think can be fairly detrimental in a way. But I also think that it's an excellent way to get to network and stuff like that. So I'm aware of how special it is, how necessary it is. I'm also quite careful of it. I think it's easy to be on there for an hour and you're just being subjected to just this overstimulation constantly of this this video's gonna make you cry, this one's gonna make you laugh, this one's gonna make you cringe. It's all these different videos in a row, and it's wow, that's a lot. So I'm cautious of it, but I think TikTok's probably the way to go. I'll probably end up doing work for the Rubik's brands with TikTok or something like that. We'll see.
Nice, awesome. I don't know if you want to finish with some kind of another demo or something like that.
Yeah, sure. Maybe scramble on that. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to try a one-handed or some unusual thing or whatever's best.
I'm trying to think which is best for 100. I'll do a 200 and 100 then.
Maybe we should ask as well, is there anything else interesting about the challenge or that you kind of want to share, or anything else I haven't asked?
I think we managed to touch on everything. Yeah. I don't know how long that was.
It's around 35 minutes at the moment.
So, all right. I'll do this one. Yeah, just 200.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, pretty good. All right, do you want to have a go at this one? 100. Yeah, these cubes are really nice,
they turn very well, don't they?
Yeah. Is this just what brand's this?
That's
they're all different on there.
2020.
Okay. Nice.
They have very, very niche names now. They used to not, but obviously it's got as they release more, it's now become you need a very, very niche name to do it. Okay. Oh.
Very nice. Can you do on blindfolded? That's what I've wanted before.
Yeah, so I can do blindfolded solving, but I'm not good at it. I'm very, very out of practice. What I often do to to non-cubers is I'll go I'll do a behind the back one.
Okay.
So this is a scramble that I know that I can solve.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I'll just go
Go ahead. That's awesome.
So that's quite cool. People like the way that looks, but
that's pretty cool.
It's not as much skill as just a regular saw, to be honest.
Yeah, nice.
There's like people do like Rubik's Cube magic, so it's like something like that.
Oh, nice.
It's like
okay.
behind your back. That's like its own kind of thing. That's obviously what got me into it as well. Like I used to do Rubik's Cube magic was becoming a trend, and I was like, I'll just do Rubik's Cubes. But yeah.
Do you still do any magic or card tricks or anymore at the moment?
No,
completely out of that.
The guy that helped me with the world record attempts, he's a magician.
Okay.
So we spoke a bit during the attempts.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all good. But yeah, I mean, like in terms of like last things about the attempt, just thanks to everyone that made it happen. Like, cause I couldn't have done it without my girlfriend, without the scramblers. So this guy called AJ Green, like it probably wouldn't have happened without him. Like he was like just a scrambler and a judge, but he was so much more than that. Like he did everything in terms of like reassuring me, making sure that it would happen on the day. So yeah, credit to him as well. But like credit to everyone, because I was the soul, but that's all I was, you know. And sometimes I feel a bit guilty that I got all the credit, you know, like I'm the person on the news articles, but it was them as well. Like they were the ones that made it happen, you know. But yeah.
Nice. Yeah, well, congratulations. Thanks for coming back. Great to chat again, and
thank you.
Hope to see you at one point again when you do another world record. Let's chat again.
Cheers. Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you enjoyed the Human Podcast, please consider subscribing. I hope to see you soon.